When the plane touched down at Portland International, I felt that usual mix of exhaustion and relief. I was finally home. After 3 long days of client meetings in Phoenix, I just wanted to see Hannah, my wife of 4 years, and collapse on our couch. "Hey, babe," I said as soon as she picked up. "Just landed. Should be home in about an hour." "Okay," she replied softly. "Drive safe." "No, I love you." No warmth. Just 2 short words, but I brushed it off. Maybe she was busy with her freelance design work again. Hannah could disappear into her art for hours, forgetting the rest of the world. The drive back to Beaverton felt endless. My thoughts wandered between deadlines, dinner plans, and a half-hopeful dream we'd been putting off starting a family. I'd been ready for months. She always said once my business stabilizes. By the time I turned onto our street, that excitement had built into something light and happy. But the moment I pulled into our driveway, it all shattered. My garage remote didn't work. I frowned, pressed again, nothing. Probably the batteries, I thought. I parked outside and walked to the front door. That's when the real confusion started. My key didn't fit. At first, I thought I was just tired. Maybe I was trying the wrong one. I tried again, then again and again until my fingers started trembling. I knocked. "Hannah, it's me. Something's wrong with the lock." A long pause. Then her voice calm, too calm. "The locks were changed, Ben." My stomach sank. "What? Why would you? You don't live here anymore." I blinked. "Excuse me." "You heard me," she said, her tone flat. "You can't come in." I laughed nervously. "Hannah, stop joking. I've been gone 3 days." "I'm not joking." And then I heard footsteps behind me. Benjamin Carter. I turned to see a man in a baseball cap holding a yellow envelope. "Yeah, you've been served," he said, shoving it into my hands. "Inside petition for divorce." I froze. This can't be right. The man added dryly, "There's also a temporary restraining order. You're to remain at least 200 yards away from Mrs. Carter." My voice cracked. "A restraining what the hell? Why would she?" Before I could finish, a police cruiser pulled up beside the curb. The officer stepped out, one hand resting on his holster. "Sir," he said firmly, "I need you to leave this property immediately. But this is my house. Not according to the court order. Please don't make me arrest you." I looked up at the windows, our windows. The curtains were drawn tight. I could see my reflection in the glass, small and stupid. Slowly, I turned, walked to my car, and drove away. From behind me, I heard the officer's voice. "All clear, Mrs. Carter, he's gone." Her voice answered muffled but satisfied. "Thank you, officer." That drive to the motel felt endless. My heart pounded so hard I could barely grip the steering wheel. The woman I kissed goodbye 3 days ago had just erased me like a typo. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the motel ceiling, the paper from the envelope lying open beside me. Divorce. Restraining order. I reread them until the words blurred. What had I done? I tried calling her, no answer. I checked our bank account. My breath caught. Every dollar in our joint savings was gone, cleaned out. The next morning, I called in sick. My boss, Evelyn, was predictably cold. "You must have done something," she said when I explained what had happened. "No woman changes the locks overnight." By noon, I was sitting in a tiny legal office downtown, hands shaking around a styrofoam cup of coffee. Across the desk sat Winston Hale, an older attorney with a patient gaze. "Mr. Carter," he said, after scanning the documents, "your wife has planned this for quite some time." My throat went dry. Planned. "You can't obtain a restraining order in a day. She hired counsel, drafted motions, changed locks, coordinated with law enforcement. This is not spontaneous. This is premeditated." I slumped in my chair. "She told me she loved me on the phone last night." Winston gave me a look I couldn't read. Pity, maybe. "I'll represent you. But I'd suggest hiring an investigator. Someone to find out why she did this. Do you know anyone?" He nodded. "My brother runs a private investigation firm downstairs. Reliable. Discreet." An hour later, I was shaking hands with a man named Trevor Hale, ex-cop, calm, sharp eyes. He listened as I told him everything. When I finished, he leaned back. "I'll find out what's going on. But I'll tell you one thing now, your wife just turned you into the villain in her story." I stared at him. "What do you mean?" He folded his arms. "That restraining order. It's a shield. When her friends ask, all she has to say is, 'I don't want to talk about it.' I had to get a restraining order. Everyone fills in the blanks. You become the abuser. She becomes the survivor. The words hit like a punch. She's laying the groundwork, he continued. You'll be broke, homeless, and branded guilty in the court of public opinion. The question is, do you want to fight back? I nodded slowly. Yes. Good, he said, standing up. Then let's start with finding out who she's protecting. That night back in the motel, I sat on the edge of the bed staring at my reflection in the dark TV screen. My own face looked like a stranger's, pale, hollow-eyed and lost. I whispered to myself, you can take my house, Hannah. You can take the money, but you won't take the truth. Outside, the city lights flickered through the rain like distant signals. Somewhere out there, she was celebrating, and somewhere in this mess, I was going to find out why. The next morning, my phone buzzed just as I finished a terrible motel breakfast. Ben Carter, a familiar voice, asked. Trevor Hale. You'd better come down. We found something. 30 minutes later, I was in his dim little office, the blinds half closed against the morning light. Trevor sat behind a cluttered desk, scrolling through footage on his computer. What am I looking at? I asked. He tilted the screen toward me. Your street. Doorbell camera from your neighbor's house. They're part of a neighborhood watch program. These recordings are saved to a shared cloud. The video began. My house. Quiet. Then a silver BMW turned into the driveway. That's not Hannah's car, I said. No, Trevor agreed. Watch. The garage door opened. The car slid inside and the door closed. When was this? Yesterday, 2:25 p.m. I blinked. Yesterday. While she was kicking me out. He nodded grimly. Keep watching. Another clip appeared, same car, same garage. The timestamp read 3 weeks earlier. My stomach clenched. It's been going on for weeks. 6 months, Trevor said quietly. Same visitor. Twice, sometimes 3 times a week. I stared at the screen, feeling heat rush to my face. Who is he? Trevor clicked once more. The image zoomed in on the license plate. Then another screen popped up a driver's license photo. A clean-shaven man with smug eyes stared back at me. Jack McMillan, Trevor said. Owner of the agency where your wife sells her artwork. The name hit me like a hammer. Jack had been at our house. Twice. Smiling. Complimenting the warmth of our home. I shot to my feet. I'll go there right now. Trevor's hand closed around my wrist with surprising strength. Sit down, Ben. That's exactly what she wants. You show up angry, you prove her restraining order was justified. You'll lose everything. I froze, breathing hard. He released me and leaned forward. You want to hurt her? Then you play smarter. I've got someone who can help. That's when he introduced me to Dash Hale, Trevor's niece, a tech expert with snow-white hair and an energy that buzzed like caffeine. Her office looked like a hacker's lair, giant monitors, wires everywhere, a futon in the corner. She grinned as I walked in. So you're the guy who got ambushed. That's one way to put it, I muttered. I've read the case file, she said, tapping her keyboard. Your wife didn't just betray you, she scripted the whole thing like a movie. You want justice, we'll give her a better movie. I frowned. What are you talking about? Social media, she said. Public opinion. You can't beat her in court yet, but you can win where she least expects it. I'm not interested in revenge online, I snapped. She leaned forward. You think the internet's just memes and cat videos? It's the new courtroom. People decide who's guilty long before a judge does. If you want your name back, you fight there. Her confidence was disarming. She had that mix of brilliance and chaos that scared you and impressed you at the same time. All right, I sighed. What's your plan? First, we record everything. Recreate what happened when you came home. Then I'll shape the footage into a narrative, your story. Raw, emotional, honest. You mean, act it out. She smiled. No acting. Just relive it. Every emotion, every word. So I did. We drove back to my street. Trevor confirmed Hannah was out. Dash handed me a Bluetooth earpiece. I'll guide you, she said. I stood on the porch, staring at the door I used to unlock without thinking. Start from the top, her voice whispered in my ear. You just got home from the airport. I tried the key. It jammed like before. Say what you said that day. Hannah, it's me. Good, she whispered. Now remember how you felt. The pain flooded back. Confusion, anger, panic. I knocked harder. Please let me in. Then Trevor, disguised in a baseball cap, stepped up as the process server, handing me the same envelope. It was eerie reliving that nightmare in front of a camera. But when I walked back to my car, head bowed, I felt the tears rise naturally. Dash caught it all. Back in her office, she loaded the footage onto her computer, her eyes gleaming. Perfect. You're a natural. I feel sick, I admitted. Good, she said softly. That means it's real. Over the next few days, Dash edited tirelessly. She added text overlays, soft music, and muted colors. It needs to feel raw, she said. When she finished, she sent it to a YouTube influencer named Gertie Lane, host of the Neighborhood Window, a gossip channel with millions of followers. This woman's reach is insane, Dash explained. If Gertie bites, the story goes viral. Viral, I repeated. You mean public? She smirked. Exactly. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a message from Dash, brace yourself. You're live on Gertie. I opened YouTube. There it was. My face, my house, my humiliation. Gertie's syrupy voice narrated over the clip. Ladies, have you ever wanted to see a man finally get what he deserves? Meet the husband who came home to find the locks changed and the door slammed in his face. Poor guy didn't see it coming, and neither will you. The footage played me pounding on the door, shouting bewildered. The audience loved it. The comments were brutal. Serves him right. Another cheater gets what's coming. Good for her. By afternoon, co-workers were whispering. Someone printed a screenshot of my face and pinned it to the break room wall with the caption, "Humiliated husband." I wanted to disappear. I stormed into Dash's office that evening. You turned me into a joke. She didn't flinch. Trust me, Ben, this is the setup. Everyone has to hate you first, then we flip the story. You're saying this is part of your plan. Every story needs a fall before the rise, she said. You're halfway down the hill. I buried my face in my hands. And how far do I have to fall? She met my eyes steadily. All the way. Because the higher the crowd boos, the louder they'll cheer when the truth comes out. I didn't believe her, not yet, but somewhere under the humiliation a spark of anger burned. If Hannah wanted to destroy me publicly, then fine. I'd use her stage against her. By Monday morning, I thought the humiliation was over. It wasn't. When I walked into the office, conversations died mid-sentence. My manager, Evelyn, waved me into the conference room. She didn't sit. Ben, we've seen the video. The board's concerned. I swallowed hard. It's not true. My wife, she cut me off. Perception is everything. HR will process your termination by noon. That was it. 6 years gone in a 5-minute meeting. Security escorted me out. The hallway felt a mile long. Colleagues avoided my eyes. My reflection in the glass looked smaller with every step. By evening, I was back in the motel staring at my phone, fired, publicly humiliated, flat broke. Then Dash called. I saw the news, she said. This is the low point, the part before everything flips. This isn't a movie, I muttered. Then let's make it one. She pulled me into her office that night. Trevor was there, too calm as ever. You've lost your job, he said. Good. That means leverage, wrongful termination. Winston's drafting the claim. Dash turned her monitor toward me, and we launched the Exiles Journal, a new channel, anonymous. You tell your story, no names, just truth. I hesitated. You want me to go viral again? Exactly, she said, but this time on your terms. That night, we filmed the first video. I sat beneath a single lamp, voice shaking as I said, when someone you love erases you, you stop knowing who you are. I'm here to find out. By morning, the video had 200,000 views. Within a week, 500,000. People began to doubt Hannah's story. Then Trevor called me in. He dropped a folder on the desk. Inside messages between Hannah and Jack. He leaves town Friday, file Monday. Make sure cops are ready. They'd planned it all, even the restraining order. I felt the anger burn back to life. What now, I asked. Dash smiled faintly. Now we let them think they've won. She turned off the lights, leaving only the glow of the screen. When they get comfortable, she said, we'll take everything back. By sunrise, Dash's warning came true. I woke to hundreds of notifications lighting up my phone texts, missed calls, emails from numbers I didn't recognize. The headlines all screamed the same lie. Exclusive viral husband's restraining order followed domestic violence claim. Gertie's thumbnail was a freeze frame of my face mid-yell from the video Dash had filmed weeks ago, the moment I'd relived my humiliation for the sake of the plan. Only now, stripped of context, it looked like proof. The internet didn't need facts. It just needed a villain. In less than 6 hours, my name was trending again, this time next to the word abuser. The comments poured in like acid. He deserves jail. Classic manipulator cries online, hits offline. Gertie never lies. She always vets her sources. I stared at the screen numb. My hand shook so badly that I dropped my phone. When I finally called Dash, she answered on the first ring. "Already saw it," she said, her voice clipped. "Get to the office, now." By the time I arrived, she was pacing like a storm contained in human form. Her white hair glowed against the blue light of her monitors, fingers moving fast over the keyboard. Trevor stood beside her, arms folded, calm but tight-jawed. "They forged it," Dash said without looking up. "There's no actual record of this police report in the county system. No filing number, no case ID, nothing." Trevor tossed a folder onto the desk. "But we traced where the fake came from." I flipped it open, bank statements, donation receipts, a screenshot of a wire transfer. $10,000, Trevor said, tapping the page. Paid to the county's Community Justice Fund. Donor named Jack McMillan. The name landed like a punch. "He bribed them," I whispered. Dash finally stopped typing and looked at me. Jack didn't just bribe, he built the narrative. The timing of the donation matches the fake report upload. He used his PR connections to feed it to Gertie before anyone could verify. I sank into a chair. He turned my entire life into a script. Trevor leaned against the desk. "Good news is that gives us grounds for a federal fraud claim. Winston's drafting it now." Winston, my attorney, joined the meeting via video call. His image flickered on Dash's largest monitor. "Mr. Carter," he began, "we're no longer dealing with defamation. This is coordinated character assassination, intentional harm, documented through money transfers. If we handle this right, you won't just clear your name. You'll expose a network of corruption." Dash grinned faintly. "Told you this was bigger than a bad marriage," but I wasn't smiling. My mind was spinning through everything I'd lost: the house, the job, my reputation. And now this fake report designed to bury me completely. Dash placed a hand on my shoulder. "Hey, don't look at me like that. You're still standing. That means you haven't lost." I met her eyes. "So what's next?" She walked to her desk and opened a new project file. "Phase 3, she said. "We're going to hit them where they live, the internet." She and Trevor worked for hours while I watched in silence. The room hummed with low, relentless focus, the clicking of keys, the buzz of computers, the soft whir of the ceiling fan above us. Dash layered clips side by side: the fake police report, the donation record, the text threads between Hannah and Jack, the footage from Gertie's broadcast. Trevor verified every timestamp, every metadata trail. "Truth doesn't need drama," Dash murmured, adjusting color levels. "It just needs proof." When she finished, she uploaded the file to the Exile's journal. The title was short and sharp: "The Receipts." We didn't have to wait long. The video exploded 100,000 views in the first hour, 500,000 by noon. Every platform picked it up. People slowed down before typing this time. They compared screenshots, zoomed into timestamps, replayed the donation transfer segment. Comments began to change tone. "Wait, why do the dates match the donation?" "So he never hit her." "They made it up. That's a fake police report. He's innocent." By the end of the day, hashtags flipped. "Justice for Ben" started trending. For the first time in months, my phone filled with messages of support instead of hate. And then came the real twist. That evening, Gertie went live again, same makeup, same studio, but her confidence was gone. Her voice trembled as she looked into the camera. "I owe an apology. I've just confirmed that the documents I used in my last broadcast were falsified. I was misled by a source I trusted. To the man in that video, I'm sorry." The chat exploded. Tens of thousands watched as the queen of gossip publicly admitted she'd been played. Trevor crossed his arms. That's checkmate on her. But Dash wasn't smiling. She turned one of her screens toward me. "Not yet." On the display was a folder labeled Pattern. Inside were dozens of scanned marriage certificates, restraining orders, property records, all under slight variations of the same name: Hannah Miller, Hannah McAllister, H. Milton. I stared. "What is this?" Dash clicked through the documents one by one. "She's done this before Ben. 5 times that we can verify. Different cities, same method. Marry, build sympathy, drain assets, file false charges, disappear." The room went silent except for the low hum of the servers. Trevor broke it first. She's not just manipulative, she's a serial con artist. My hands tightened into fists. So every word she said to me, every touch was part of a setup. Dash nodded. She's built an empire out of destruction. The restraining orders, the pity donations, the online followers, each husband became a stepping stone. I stared at the glowing screen, watching years of deception scroll past. My pulse slowed. For the first time in a long while, I wasn't panicking. I was planning. What happens if we go public with this, I asked. Dash's eyes sharpened. She loses everything. Her credibility, her network, her next mark. And once Winston files the federal fraud suit, she's looking at prison time. Trevor leaned closer. But we have to time it right. One wrong leak and she'll vanish again. I nodded slowly. Then we make sure she doesn't. That night, Dash drafted the next upload. The script was simple, direct, and devastating. No theatrics, no anger, just evidence. Marriage certificates stacked beside restraining orders, bank accounts frozen right after settlements, transfers to new aliases. It was the story of a woman who'd built her life on exploitation and the man who finally caught her pattern. Before we left the office, Dash turned to me. Tomorrow, she said softly, we post everything. No masks, no pseudonyms, just truth. I exhaled slowly, the tension leaving my shoulders. Tomorrow, I repeated. For the first time since that door had closed in my face, I felt something real, a sense of control. Not revenge, not anger, just clarity. I looked out the window at the rain sliding down the glass, each drop catching the city lights and breaking them apart like tiny shards of color. She turned my life into a performance, I said quietly. It's time I end the show. Dash gave a small smile. Then let's give her the finale she deserves. The morning our final video went live, the world felt eerily still. Even the sky outside Dash's office looked muted, heavy with rain clouds, like the world was holding its breath. Dash clicked publish. Then she leaned back, whispering, "It's done." The video was titled simply, "The Queen of Lies, the Full Story." It opened with silence, then my voice steadied this time. For months I believed I was the only one, the only man who'd been erased, accused, and replaced. But I wasn't. She's done this before. Again and again and again. Dash had built the video like a documentary. Marriage certificates slid across the screen. Restraining orders, all with matching handwriting. Different states, different names, same method. Hannah's voice from past interviews echoed faintly her public speeches about empowerment after trauma layered over proof of her fraud. Each husband's name appeared in white text on a black background. Seattle 2013, Denver 2016, Austin 2018, Chicago 2020, then mine Portland 2024. It didn't take long for the storm to begin. Within an hour, the video passed 1 million views. By noon, every major news outlet had picked it up. Serial marriage scammer exposed in viral revenge video. Hannah Miller's pattern of false allegations unraveled. From victim to predator, the woman who weaponized sympathy. My phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Reporters, lawyers, even old co-workers who'd avoided me for months were calling, leaving messages filled with disbelief and guilt. Trevor paced the office, scrolling through live coverage. "They're tearing her story apart in real time," he said. "She's trending in 4 countries. Half her followers are deleting comments. The rest are demanding refunds for her healing workshops." Dash, who had been silent, finally said, "Wait." She pointed at the screen. "She's live." We turned to Gertie's channel. Hannah sat in what looked like a hotel room, makeup half done, trying to control her trembling hands. Her voice cracked as she spoke. "These accusations are false. They're orchestrated by a bitter ex-husband who's obsessed with destroying me." But the chat was already a wall of fury. "We've seen the receipts. You scammed 5 men. Where's the $10,000 donation?" Then Hannah. Her live stream cut off after 3 minutes. Dash exhaled slowly. "That's it. She's finished." I didn't feel joy, just relief, a quiet, heavy kind that settles into your bones. Winston called an hour later. "The firm representing your former company has reached out," he said. "They want to settle. $6.5 million pre-tax." I blinked. 6.5. "They're desperate to distance themselves from the fraud," he said. "I'd take it." When I hung up, Trevor raised his coffee mug. "To justice." But Dash shook her head. "Not yet. The The point isn't the money. It's the silence that comes after. She was right. Because the silence that followed wasn't peace, it was fallout. By the end of the week, Gertie issued a formal retraction. Jack McMillan was forced to resign. Investigators from 2 states launched inquiries into Hannah's previous cases. And then she disappeared. No social media, no forwarding address. Her house was empty, only a few furniture pieces left behind and the faint scent of her perfume clinging to the walls. Trevor looked around the house as we walked through it with the police. "You think she'll run again?" he asked. "She already has," I said. "But this time she won't have a clean slate." He nodded. "You did it, Ben. You took her power." But what I didn't tell him was that I didn't feel powerful. I felt tired, hollow, like every ounce of rage that had kept me alive had burned out. That night, I drove down the Pacific Coast Highway with Dash. We didn't say much. The waves crashed against the rocks, and the setting sun turned the ocean into molten gold. "I keep thinking about how it started," I said finally. "The day she changed the locks, how helpless I felt." Dash looked out the window. "You're not helpless anymore." "No," I said. "But I think that's the saddest part." She turned to me puzzled. "I had to lose everything to get here," I said. "And now that I've won, there's no version of my old life I even want back." She nodded slowly. "That's what truth does. It frees you, but it takes everything first." We stopped at a small diner near the coast. No cameras, no noise, just the hum of conversation and the smell of coffee. Dash reached across the table and tapped the edge of my mug. "So what now?" she asked. "I don't know," I said honestly. "Maybe I start over. Somewhere no one knows my name. Maybe I finally build something that isn't built on anger." She smiled faintly. "That's a good plan." "Yeah," I said, "but first I want to leave something behind." A week later, I uploaded one final video to the Exiles Journal. No dramatic music, no edits, just me in front of a window, sunlight spilling in. When someone lies about you, the hardest part isn't losing what you had, it's watching the world believe the lie. But truth is patient. It doesn't need applause. It just needs time. I paused, breathing deeply. If you're watching this and someone's tried to destroy your name, don't chase revenge. Chase clarity. It lasts longer. Then I smiled for the first time on camera and ended the video. Within days, it became one of the most shared posts of the year. Not because it was angry, but because it was human. I took the settlement closed, my account sold what was left of the house, and disappeared quietly into the California coast. Dash came with me for a while. We found a small apartment overlooking the water-bare walls, mismatched furniture piece. One morning, as we watched the sunrise, she asked softly, "Do you think she's out there watching you?" I thought for a long time. "Maybe," I said. "But for the first time, that doesn't scare me." She smiled. "Because you're done running." I nodded. Because I finally stopped living in her story. The waves kept rolling steady and endless, erasing footprints in the sand. Hannah's empire was gone. Jack's reputation destroyed. Gertie rebuilding from the ashes. And me, I wasn't the villain anymore. I wasn't even the victim. I was just free. Thank you for listening to today's stories. If you enjoyed listening, please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, leave a comment below to share your thoughts on what happened. Take care.